So this one here, it goes around the corner this way. This one around the corner. That one around the corner. Most of the corners you check, you'll see this, and you'll also notice that there's a continuous radius that is pretty clear. Like, look at this one over here. You see how it's kind of it looks different from the rest of the stone. Like it was a single tool that made this all the way down. So you can imagine that they're stacking these blocks up, the granite blocks against the core masonry. They're stacking them up, and there's going to be excess material here. So these blocks, as they're stacked up, they're going to have lots of excess granite. We'll see this at Ankara later today. There's excess granite, so all of them are sticking out like this far. But the eventual wall is going to be at this level. There's lots of stone left. So this block would have had a bunch of stone on it coming out this way. So you go, once you've got the wall stacked up, you go to the top of the wall, maybe. This is how they did it. And you find where you want the finished corner to be, and you drill down from the top all the way to the floor, which gives you like a hole right here, say a 1-inch hole that makes this radius. And then you come in and you face the blocks. You have a machine or tools, whatever. You remove all the granite, going this way and this way, until you reach the hole you drilled, and that's why the block now goes around the corner. This one goes around the corner this way.
It's like a relief carving, almost.
Yeah, it can be, yeah. So this is a lot clearer when we go to the Assyrian, and later today we'll look at Ankara, and you'll see what it looks like when there's all this excess. They left a lot of granite, hundreds of pounds per block of granite on each block, and then they remove it. So this temple is pretty much finished, but there's a lot of sites we'll see in Egypt where they didn't quite finish the job, where there's lots of excess stone left. And in the Osirian, there's a section of the wall where they were clearly in the process of carving the stone off, and then they quit for some reason.
Is that the spot where that wall where it looks like it's scoop marks and it like becomes flat and then the rest is kind of bubbly?
Yes.
Is that corner?
Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll see that in the Osirian.
It looks like you can see a hint of that radius even where that block is missing. You see that line up there?
Yeah, all the way up. And if you check all the corners in this temple, you'll notice the same thing. Lots of the blocks are going around the corners.
Yeah.
But it seems like they finished the job here. There's another also when you're just looking at the shapes of the blocks, sometimes you'll see matching patterns. You'll notice that over here there's a sort of a pattern of blocks, and then on this side there's some matching pattern. It's not, I don't see it here, but in some of the entryways and around the doorways going up this hallway right here, you'll notice that some of the layers are like they're matching patterns. And just other interesting things about the construction, like on the in the chamber over here, the second layer down has on the right side of the doorway 2 stones that have sort of an insert that goes up like this, and then on the other side of the doorway there's 2 similar stones that have inserts. Like they're trying to lock the top layer in somehow. So you just notice that with the patterns on the blocks all over the place.
What about some of the symmetry, like the mirroring?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The mirroring. Yeah. But it is amazing how it just didn't seem to be difficult for them to have oddly shaped blocks like this one.
Yeah.
This just makes the job so much harder. You have this second layer here, another cross, and then it drops down like 6 inches over the doorway right there. And that block goes around the corner, comes over here, and then it goes back up 6 inches right there. Just all these kinds of details in the construction is fascinating.
Well, yeah, even just the diagonals. Like, why would you?
Yeah,
what's the
right.
point of?
Let's just make it harder.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's literally all they did.
Yeah, because they could have gone straight up and almost just had to be a square block.
Yeah.
And it's
That's
not like
about.
Yeah.
This
Why
one.
would,
But
why would you notch
instead,
it
you
in
want to
there?
go like this.
Yeah. And look at this one. This long narrow block, only part of it goes around the corner right there. So why would they decide to do that?
the only reason I can make it difficult to do that is to make it so it doesn't
it seems like it's locking it into place.
It always seems to be the tops where they cut pieces away. The bottoms of the block are almost always the full length.
It's interesting. I never knew they had this kind of rock work here. I always thought it was like Peru. And then
Yeah.
watch Russ's Colin Russ's podcast. It's like mind bending.
Angles. I mean, I've had a hard enough time trying to build a deck for my house, just doing right angles.
I mean, you see mortar in there now, but this stuff is modern. Right. Yeah, or they've just eroded so far. You know, this is granite. You know how long it takes granite to decompose like this?
And it was
Are you a
buried.
geologist?
And it was buried too, right?
Oh yeah.
How long
I
does it
mean,
take granite to decompose?
what you said it was part of this potentially underwater? Do we know?
I don't know. I mean, it could have been underwater, but it takes a long
A
time.
long
right?
time.
Long
I mean, I think it's 10,000 years
Yeah.
plus.
Yes. Right. It's a long time for granite to decompose. And you can see this elsewhere when they were doing this kind of construction, that you can imagine that these surfaces were polished.
Yeah.
So you're starting out with, like, think of a granite countertop sort of quality, and it's this much eroded, and this is a vertical surface, so far less susceptible to the kind of erosion you get with a horizontal one. Yeah, it's disintegrating.
This block was at an angle.
Well, it's like they're using excess material at the bottom of the block. Yes, right. Exactly. It does. It seems to make it work.